I want to talk with Mr. Wheeler about EPA employees and breaking the law. When Ms. White served on the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, the commission staff were told to underreport the levels of radiation in drinking water, violating the EPA's rules. She later defended these actions, telling a reporter that, quote, "We did not believe the science of health effects justified EPA setting the standard where they did." That's the end of the quote. And I would just ask Mr. Wheeler, do you agree that it's appropriate or inappropriate to direct staff to violate federal law, regulations, or reporting requirements?
First, I'm not sure where the quote came from and what Ms. White would say about the quote today, but I don't think it is appropriate to direct staff to ignore laws. No.
Thank you. In our personal meeting, you noted that you were once an EPA career official.
Yes, sir.
And during your time there, you found that the EPA career staff are dedicated employees who want to make a difference with their lives on behalf of other people in the planet on which we live. In materials you submitted for the record, you also stated, "If I am confirmed, I hope to earn their respect." My question is, do you agree that censoring, disregarding, or excluding career staff's views would actually earn their respect? Would you describe some steps that you plan to take, if you are confirmed, to improve the manner in which EPA career staffs are respected in a way that shows them respect?
Thank you, Senator. I will turn to the career staff and ask their advice and listen to them. And I think I'd have to answer that question best by saying that they will see it in my daily actions and how I interact with them and how I go forward with them.
All right. And one last one, if I can, Ms. White. In congressional testimony and articles, you've referred to EPA employees, and I'm going to quote you, "Federal mandarins brandishing their scientific credentials." Federal mandarins brandishing their scientific credentials. And I hear those words that suggest you may not agree with Mr. Wheeler that EPA career staff are dedicated employees who want to make a difference on the environment. But I always try to treat other people the way I want to be treated. And what would cause you to describe this people like Andy Wheeler, you know, when he was working at the EPA, as a federal mandarin brandishing scientific credentials, what would lead you to talk that way about them?
Reflecting the
microphone.
Oops, it's on. Can you hear me now? A rather exaggerated way to reflect the anger that I see in people in the amount of power that federal employees have garnered, as opposed to all of you, our Congress. That's where that came from. And I might speak to the, if it's appropriate, what you were talking about in terms of the.
I'm sorry, my time has expired.
Okay.
I'm tired. Thank you, though. Mr. Chairman, just one last unanimous consent request to submit additional materials for the record pertaining to Ms. White's views on public health and the environment. That would include a letter from 56 members of the House opposed to her nomination, and a letter signed by many environmental organizations who also oppose her nomination. I ask unanimous consent.
Thank you. And also Carol Baker, who is the Texas Water Foundation president and CEO, stated this, Ms. White, is, she, quote, "A committed public servant, has been a wonderful advocate on behalf of water issues for decades. In her role as chair of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, was a champion on natural resource issues and admired for her commitment and tenacity. She's very collaborative, always interested in listening to all the details on the issue, as a great team leader. I highly recommend and support this very qualified candidate, Kathleen Hartnett White." Unanimous consent that we introduce that. As it turned to Senator Inhofe, it seemed like you were trying to answer something when Mr. Wheeler was asking, and something would put in your, if it's all right with Senator Inhofe, I'd like to
get your response on that. Yes, I was, and I understood his question was about an issue of naturally occurring radionuclides in soil, and as characterized, that somehow I or another CEQ employee was telling field staff to don't show the extent of the problem. Just mute it back a little bit, and evidently EPA was claiming that. And this is one of these really technical issues and interpretive guidance with EPA. I would never, ever tell staff to underreport health hazards. That's the only statement I wanted to make. And health hazards like this need to be addressed ASAP.